What's up guys, my name's Brandon and we are less than 2 weeks away from the first developer beta of iOS 13, and today I wanted to share with you guys the top 15 features I'm most looking forward to. Now all of the features I'm going to discuss in this video have already been confirmed by Bloomberg and 9to5Mac, so I will leave those sources down in the description below. And before we get started, let me know in a comment down below which feature are you looking forward to the most in iOS 13? What feature are you most excited for in iOS 13 aside from dark mode? I know my comments are going to be filled with dark mode, so let me know down in a comment what your favorite feature besides dark mode is in iOS 13. What are you most excited for? So anyways, let's go and get to these top 15 confirmed features. And of course, the very first one is the one I just mentioned, and that is dark mode. We've talked about this multiple times on the channel. You guys are probably already aware, but dark mode is definitely confirmed for iOS 13, and here's what it could look like. Of course, us jailbroken users, jailbroken devices have had a dark mode for years now, but you can see just how good the phone looks. If we go into our settings, you can just see how good the dark theme all around the OS looks. It looks so much better than stock, just with the white background, looks so much better. And I'm hoping that iOS 13 does a really good job with dark mode because there's so much anticipation behind it. Everybody's looking so forward to it, and I feel like if it's not as good as like the jailbreak tweak right here, if it's not as good as this, I think people are going to be disappointed. It's also been confirmed that there will be a toggle in the control center to enable and disable dark mode. So I'm imagining it'll look something probably pretty similar to the do not disturb. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different so you can distinguish the two, but we will have a toggle in our control center to turn on and off dark mode. Of course, you can do it from within settings as well. The next feature I'm most excited for in iOS 13 is the new volume HUD. Of course, this is another one that is long overdue. Us jailbreak users have had, a custom volume HUD right there, a very sleek volume HUD for years now. There's been so many different variations of the volume HUD for jailbroken devices, but with iOS 13, we will finally get rid of the super intrusive volume HUD that takes up pretty much the whole screen when we're in videos, when we're on the home screen. It's very intrusive, and I'm really glad that Apple is finally going to address that in iOS 13 with an all-new volume HUD. Another awesome feature coming in iOS 13 is a more streamlined and an easier way to manage and add fonts to iOS. So now with iOS 13, you're not going to have to install a profile to get new fonts on your phone. So there will be a new font management panel inside of settings, probably inside of the keyboard settings, where you're going to be able to have a font picker instead of having to actually download a profile and go through that whole process. It's going to be a lot easier, a lot more streamlined in iOS 13. It was also noted that your iPhone will notify you when you open up a document that has missing fonts, so you can maybe go ahead and download those fonts so that they're no longer missing. So it's really going to be more like a computer or like an iPad now. So that's really nice that we're going to have new font management in iOS 13. We're also going to have improved multitasking for the iPad in iOS 13. So iOS 13 is going to focus very heavily on the iPad. I don't think it's going to be, 90% iPad features and not a lot of iPhone features, but Apple did confirm that they are working on a lot of awesome things for the iPad, and multitasking is one of them. So according to these reports, apps are now going to have multiple windows, and each window will contain sheets that can be moved around with gestures on the iPad now. So it's basically going to be like apps within apps now in iOS 13. So it's going to be very awesome to see true multitasking, finally, some true multitasking on the iPad with iOS 13. Now, speaking of the iPad, another feature I'm really looking forward to in iOS 13 is being able to use the iPad as an external display for your Mac. So this is something we've been able to do in the past with third-party applications, but now it's going to be built into iOS 13, and you can use it as a second screen for your Mac. So that's going to be awesome. You can also draw with an Apple Pencil on that, so it's going to be really cool to be able to use the Apple Pencil and the iPad to, do things on your computer. The next thing I'm looking forward to in iOS 13 is the UI enhancements. So there are going to be a ton of UI enhancements, and some of the ones that have been confirmed is a new animation when launching multitasking. So you can see how the window kind of does like that. This is actually a jailbroken device, but if you see on my iPhone XR over here, when you enable multitasking, you can see the animation there. So that's going to be tweaked in iOS 13, and there's going to be a different animation for that. And then if we go ahead and swipe over, you can see that the widgets panel is going to have an all new look in iOS 13 as well. So it looks pretty clean and pretty nice now, but in iOS 13, we are going to have a different look. Hopefully we do have more of the dark theme like you can see here on my jailbroken iPhone 10, but it still looks pretty clean. So I'm not really sure what Apple's going to do with iOS 13, but they're saying it is going to be a much cleaner look in the widgets panel. We're also going to see a new and improved Maps application in iOS 13, and it's now going to be easier to set frequent locations and navigate there. So imagine something like Waze. You know how Waze, it's a lot easier to actually set your frequent locations, and it pops up right there so you can just click on it. Looks like Apple is really going to be taking some cues from applications like Waze and implement them into the default Maps application, which will be awesome. You're also going to be able to create groups of frequent places and add a photo to those places. So that's going to be something pretty cool. Not really a major feature there, but it's just another enhancement to the Maps application, which is welcome because I tend to use Maps a lot. I do use Waze a lot as well, but I do still like using the Maps application, especially if it gets better in iOS 13. I'll probably use it even more. We're also going to have an improved share sheet in iOS 13. So it's going to be a lot smarter with this new software, and it's going to now suggest people to send content or messages to. So Apple's going to use machine learning to know basically who you text or who you send stuff to the most, and they're going to start suggesting that in the share sheet. So that's going to be a nice way to save you some time when it comes to sharing content. The Reminders app is also going to get an overhaul in iOS 13, and I don't know about you guys, but the Reminders app is really bad for me. I mean, there's so many better competitors out there to the Reminders app. I mean, we have Wunderlist, you have Todoist, you have Things. I really like Things. I think that Apple is really going to try, according to these reports, Apple is definitely going to try competing with those applications finally with the new Reminders application. So again, it was terrible pretty much ever since it was introduced into iOS. So hopefully iOS 13 really finds a way to compete with something like Wunderlist, Todoist, and Things. We're also going to see a new and improved health application in iOS 13, and I'm really looking forward to a new feature that's going to be in the new health application called Hearing Health. And this new feature is going to track how loud you play music on your headphones, and it's also going to take into account the environment and see if it's too loud, and basically just relay the information back to you and make sure that your hearing health is good and that you're not listening to your music too loud, and the atmosphere, the environment around you is not too loud as well. So that can be really beneficial for a lot of people out there with sensitive ears, especially older people. So I really am looking forward to that new feature in the health app. Now, another interesting thing coming in iOS 13 is a new application codenamed Green Torch, and this is going to combine Find My Friends and Find My iPhone. That's going to combine both of those services into one application. And this application is going to include a new Find Network feature for allowing Apple devices to be tracked even when it's not connected to Wi-Fi or a cellular network, and it's going to be able to do that by leveraging other devices nearby. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to work and how accurate it can actually be without being connected to Wi-Fi or LTE. I will definitely be testing this out when iOS 13 comes out because I am very curious about it. Now, to tack on to that, Apple is also working on a hardware product that is similar to the Tile, that Tile that you put on your keys. Basically, this new product is going to be for you to attach to like non-Apple devices like a backpack or your keys or something like that. And it's going to rely on proximity to your iPhone. And if you get too far away from the tagged item, you're going to get an alert on your phone. So that's going to be really cool. And iOS 13 is going to bring that functionality to the iPhone. So we're going to now have that built into the iPhone. And the product itself, the hardware product itself, is most likely going to be released either later this fall or possibly at the beginning of 2020. But it's going to be the software, the functionality is going to be built into the software. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're also going to see a new system-wide sleep mode. So this is going to tie into an upgraded version of the bedtime feature, which is right here, as you guys know, inside of the clock application. Basically, you set what time you want to wake up. So say I want to wake up at 7 a.m. We'll just do every day of the week. And then how many hours of sleep do you need? I'm just going to put 6 hours. Let's go next. And then I'll do a reminder 15 minutes before, next. And then I can just go and play this right there. And then you can see we have this right here that shows when we need to go to bed. It will also track how well we sleep. So you can see our sleep analysis right there. So this is going to be improved in iOS 13. I think it actually works really well right now, but iOS 13 is going to improve this even more. And it's going to give us even more details than it did in the past. So we're going to have more in the sleep analysis here. We're going to have a lot more data and information available to us as far as how well we slept. And of course, the application is probably going to look cleaner as well. And according to the report, that sleep mode is going to actually be able to be toggled inside of your control center. So it looks like that's going to be able to be controlled inside the control center to be able to turn it on and off, just like with dark mode as well. So really cool. Now we're also going to get some improvements to the home application. And one of my favorite things that's going to be added to the home application is it's going to be more integrated with security cameras. And you're going to actually now have the ability to go back and view past recordings. So this will be great for those of you with Nest cameras like myself, because now we likely won't even need to go into the Nest application for anything. everything. All the stuff we need, all of our past recordings, everything is going to be accessible inside of the new home application. And the final thing I'm looking forward to most in iOS 13 is the better way to undo and redo text. So right now with iOS 12, to undo text, you basically just have to, shake your device. You have to physically shake your device. But in iOS 13, you're going to be able to just simply tap with 3 fingers on the keyboard and go right or go left to redo and undo. So now you're just going to be able to use a 3-finger gesture instead of having to physically shake your device, which is going to be nice because I do like to undo and redo text a lot just in random times when I'm on iOS. So yeah, there you have it guys. Those are 15 of my favorite confirmed features coming for iOS 13. Now obviously there are going to be hundreds of new features and changes in iOS 13, but those are just some of the ones that have already been confirmed in the report from Bloomberg and 9to5Mac. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about these confirmed features. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you wish there was something different? What are you looking forward to most? Let me know your thoughts down in those comments below. Of course, make sure you guys do subscribe. I will be covering iOS 13 from day one, the instant it gets released to developers. I will be covering that here on the channel extensively, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of that content. And if you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. But anyways, thanks for watching the video guys, and I'll see you soon.